The skill of reframing a negative circumstance or a difficult situation or a period of uncertainty is an amazingly powerful skill to have and can really be a huge game changer when you are going through a difficult patch. However, if you want to take your reframing skill to the next level, stick around because in this video today, you're going to find out exactly what I call Q commands is all about and how it's going to have a massively positive impact on your life. Hey, I'm Maddie. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and also hit that bell icon so that you're always aware when new videos are released. I make these videos so that you can develop the kinds of strategies and habits that are going to propel you forward in your life, give you that mindset that you need for the kind of success that you are defining. Today, I mentioned that we are going to look at what I call Q commands. Now, before I can tell you what that's all about and the huge impact it's going to have on your life when you start adopting it, we need to look at this idea of reframing. Whoa. So when you reframe a situation, you are essentially turning it around on its head. So you are looking at the situation that you're in from a different perspective. And this is incredibly empowering and can actually be the difference between being paralyzed by a negative set of circumstances and being able to move swiftly forward through them. So let's just brainstorm a few examples of reframing a situation. So this is where you might take a breakup from your significant other and reframe the potentially really devastating, heartbreaking period and look at it from the perspective of this is my opportunity to work on me, to do the things that my partner didn't even like doing or whatever it is, but we're reframing that negative situation going, okay, this is now a period of self-reflection or a period of self-care or a period where I am going to get stronger as an individual. Another example of reframing a difficult situation is, say you didn't get that job you were going for. So we reframe the situation and go, okay, this is my opportunity to develop my skills in this other way, or now I can focus on this other area of my life because I'm not putting everything into what this job opportunity would have been. I'm actually able to turn my attention to spending more time with my loved ones. Yep, reframing the negative situation and turning it into a positive one. Now, this is not the same as just positive thinking. Okay, this is actually looking at another angle of the same situation. So it's very key when you're going through the reframing process to not just be tricking yourself and going, okay, no, it is a really good thing. I'm so happy that this not very nice thing has happened. That's not what reframing is about. It's about turning it around and seeing it from a different perspective. If you are interested in this whole reframing process, do stick around because I'm releasing videos all the time. And this is an area that requires a little bit more discussion and focus. So make sure you have subscribed. Once you have found the angle in which you are going to start looking at the situation you're in, so you have reframed it and you've put yourself in this new perspective, you need to remind yourself of that fact. So it's very well and good to reframe it, but you will continue to be pulled back into the initial headspace or the initial perspective because that was the one that was most organic to you. That was the one that came naturally. And if it was a negative situation, you don't want to be pulled back into that negative state. And yet it will happen as a matter of course. So what you want to do is what I call Q command. And that is where you are going to set up a thought trigger or a thought cue to remind you of this reframing, to remind you of the perspective that you are now looking at this situation from. And all you need to do is latch that thought onto an element of your daily routine. No, Maddie, I don't have a routine. No, Maddie, my routine is a mess. No, Maddie, my routine is sacred. I'm not changing anything about it. Okay, fine. We all have issues with our routine. That's okay. And by the way, if you want to dive deeper into the idea of your routine and your success routine and the kind of routine that is going to supercharge you into your very own best life, then don't forget to check out my video on how to develop your winning routine. But let's take for granted that everybody does one thing every day. It might be brushing your teeth. Now, you might not think of that as part of your routine, but if you're doing it every day, it is. Might be drinking your coffee or your tea or your hot chocolate or your chai. Or maybe it is walking the dog, something that you do every day. So I am not right now going into the ins and outs of what your sacred routine is or your rituals or the fact that you don't think you have one, because you do. There's something you do every day. And when you've chosen one thing that you already do every day, you need to insert your cue command. And this is where you are commanding from yourself the thought trigger or the cue to essentially remind yourself of this new perspective that you've gained in reframing. So for example, let's take the idea that you have not gotten the house that you were hoping for. You had put an offer on a house and it was your dream house and the offer wasn't accepted and you had kind of pegged everything on it, okay? And now you are having to move forward in a different direction. You're recovering from the disappointment. So how do we reframe that? Well, that particular situation might be reframed by understanding that actually maybe you're not at a point right now where you can understand fully what your dream house is going to require, because you know you want to be thinking of your forever home and you don't know yet what your forever looks like. So whilst that one home looked absolutely perfect, your future is rich and unfolding daily and presenting lots of new opportunities on a regular basis. And whilst that felt like your dream home has got the responsibility of fitting with so many other elements of yourself. And that's an exciting prospect. That's how we would reframe, maybe for you, that one particular experience. So that's just an example of the reframing thing. Now, you need to remind yourself of that because you're still baking in the disappointment of not having gotten that thing that you really wanted. Every day when you go to do your routine, let's say it's drinking your cup of tea in the morning. As you make that cup of tea, you're going to build on that habit of making your tea, your cue command. Command that thought cue into your head, the new reality of how you have reframed the situation. So in this particular example, this person might think to themselves, I'm so excited by how my future is going to unfold and that dream home that I thought was going to be perfect for me. I'm so excited to discover how my life is going to move forward in a different way, and that there is some other dream home that is actually going to serve me in a more effective way because of who I am becoming every day. For example, I like to be able to flesh out my examples as much as possible, but it's not that I think that you necessarily are going through this exact situation. What you need to be able to do is take the situation you are going through and take it through the same process. So you take that cue and you go through that thought every time that you perform that specific habit or routine. In this case, making your tea. Play that back, and then you get on with your day. And the more you're able to do your cue command, the more that new reframed reality becomes your actual existence, as opposed to just something you feel like you're telling yourself. And that's what we want to move away from, because it's not like you're performing some kind of magic trick when you reframe. It's just that you are, as I said, changing the perspective, but we need to allow that perspective to really get inside of us so that it feels more natural to go to that place first instead of the more negative perspective. So that's your Q command. And I invite you to go through the reframing if you haven't already. The next time a situation doesn't pan out the way you wanted it to, or the next time you're faced with disappointment or just a very difficult patch. It may not be like a big thing that happens. It may just be that you're going through a period of less than ideal time. Reframe it, then develop that Q command and stick it on your habit, and you're off. That's what I've got for you today. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and also check out the description box below, because I have stuffed it full of amazing free resources that you can grab hold of. It's yours for you today. Check out the links below so that you can carry on your journey of living your best life. I'll see you again soon.